I think a lot of people's challenges in franchising can be summed up to trying to do something part-time and on the side. This is a great opportunity for someone who's in potentially Ohio, who's thinking, I've been wanting to leave my job or do something different or find a full-time thing, and I'm ready to go all in. The people that are the most successful in business aren't treating it as passive income. They know their business inside and out, and they have spent the time to work hard in their business, to pay attention to their business, and that's why they're successful. For those of you who think like, I don't really know a lot about franchising, I don't even know what options are available, what would match my skill set, just know that that's... Welcome to our Franchise Empire newsletter, where we highlight one franchise of the week as well as one franchise resale that is listed for sale somewhere in the United States. If you want to get these franchises in your inbox every single week to read at your convenience, you can go to franchiseempire.com/newsletter to subscribe for free. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Franchise Empire Show. They say Rome wasn't built in a day, and building your empire doesn't happen overnight. My name is Tarek Johnson, and owning franchises is what helped me go from employee to employer and start building my empire for my family. So this podcast is for you, the empire builders. For those of you who want to build something that stands the test of time. This is for those of you who are crazy enough to believe that you can make the dream in your head come to life. This podcast is all about bringing you real people who are building real empires so you can get inside their mind and heart and get proven strategies and actionable insights that will catapult you to build, grow, and scale your empire. Today, we are going to talk about a resale in the automotive industry with a highly proven franchisor. We're also going to talk about a home services brand showing 1.4 million in average sales per territory. That's supposed to say sales, not sale. We're going to talk about a sales manager who bought a franchise that's exploding with growth, and a new franchisee revealing what it's really like behind the scenes. Cool. Oh, by the way, let me drop this. If you guys are probably mostly everyone who's watching. You probably are already getting these emails, but if you don't get our newsletter email, which this is all an email we send out Sunday at 8:00, then make sure to go to franchiseempire.com /newsletter. And you can get it in your inbox for free. And then if you're still unsure about franchising, you're a beginner, there's a lot of stuff you want to know, you could check out our Franchise Buyers Academy at franchiseempire.com /FBA. So let's talk about this resale, all right? It's with a company called R&R Tires, which is a fascinating franchise to me. So R&R is the largest franchisor of rent-to-own wheel and tire stores. They started in 2002. They have 155 locations. So this particular resale is in Ohio. The asking price is $650,000. It is located off of a high traffic highway. And the owner has been trying to run the business absentee, but it needs work. So basically, and this happens a lot of times, and which is why actually we were just looking at our data and the people that of our clients that we've worked with, and the people who tend to actually pull the trigger and actually buy a franchise and stay committed to the process are the folks that have an intention to go full-time in the business within like 6 months to a year. And so, I think a lot of people's challenges in franchising can be summed up to trying to do something part-time and on the side. And so, this person's trying to run it absentee. So this is a great opportunity for someone who's in potentially Ohio, who's thinking, I've been wanting to leave my job or do something different or find a full-time thing, and I'm ready to go all in and work hard to build it up. And what you often see is folks who are full-time in their business tend to do well. So the typical investment for a new location is between $1 million and $1.7 million. So, what this tells me is that this location is clearly probably underperforming. You can get access to financials, profit and loss, asset list, inventory, and everything upon signing a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA, that is standard with resales, right? So our team have looked into a few hundred franchises and put together a list of 5 low-cost franchises that all make $1 million or more and that have a proven track record of both happy and profitable franchisees. So if you have a net worth of at least $150,000 and you want to see if the territory that you want is still available for any of these franchises, then you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. All right, let's get back to the episode. So, what's our take on this? So R&R is the go-to place for quality tires and custom wheels with a pay-as-you-go program, right? And they do alignments, tire rotations, wheel balance, tire repair. They're basically a tire shop, except they have a pay-as-you-go program. Most stores require credit or cash the day of, but again, they have a pricing model that appeals to middle-income consumers. And over 85% of their customers choose the lease to purchase option, which is pretty interesting. Over the last 3 years, there have been 0 terminations, 0 non-renewals, and 0 ceased operations in their system. What that means is that the franchisor is not closing locations, which means that the franchisor is probably doing a good job. And they probably have a good system and strong stores. So we actually don't have I wish we had the average sales here. I can tell you that we've featured them in the newsletter before, R&R, and they have strong unit economics. Like they have strong average sales that they show in their FTD. So overall, I think it's a solid opportunity from the outside looking in. So if you have any interest in this resale or wanting to find out what resales are available in your area, you can go to franchiseempire.com /resales, franchiseempire.com /resales. Let's see. It looks like we have a couple of questions. I'll hit the questions at the end. I'm going to hit the questions at the end so we can rock and roll and make sure that everyone gets a value out of this. By the way, if you guys enjoy the newsletters and you get value out of these, especially if you're watching on YouTube, but any platform, just like hit the little like button on the post. It helps to show the video to more and more people. And then we know that I want to keep making these videos and these newsletters. So just let me know if you're getting value out of it. You can do that by hitting the like button. It takes a lot of time and energy to put these together. Way more than meets the eye. Okay. Let's see. Client case study. So Justin. So this guy Justin was a former sales manager for an RV company, and he didn't know much about franchising in general when he came to us, but was interested in exploring just what sort of opportunities were out there in the market. Kind of common conversation, like I know a little bit about franchising, but I want to know what's even available. How much money can I even make with some of these opportunities? Most people just think about food when they think about franchising. Probably not if you're watching this newsletter, because we don't cover food franchises in here. But he worked with our team for a few months, exploring a couple of different options, and he eventually wound up gravitating towards an emerging power washing franchise that's exploding just in growth and sales overall, where he could use his current skill sets, his sales skills to build something, and he wound up buying 2 territories, which is pretty cool. So for those of you who think like, I don't really know a lot about franchising, I don't even know what options are available, what would match my skill set, just know that that's a completely normal position to be in. Most of the people that we wind up working with and helping, they don't know what kind of franchise they want to buy. They just know they want to make a change in their life and that they want to be a business owner, and that they like the idea of franchising because they don't want to have to figure everything out from scratch. And again, we're actually starting to work with more and more entrepreneurs who have been successful in business where they're like, I don't want to build it from scratch all over again. I actually just had a conversation like this with someone in Canada who was very successful in her business, sold it, and same deal. She's just like, I don't want to start over again. I don't want to have to build it all up. So those are the type of people that we work with. If you guys want to learn more about, working directly with us hand in hand, then you can go to franchiseempire.com/ZTPF, which stands for Zero to Profitable Franchise. It's our more flagship program and way that we work with clients who are more serious in the process, that know like, hey, this is like a path that I want to go down. I just need help. I need help finding the right opportunity, vetting it, due diligence, etc. Okay. I see that we have a bunch of questions that are coming in today. Let's talk about the franchise of the week. Franchise of the week. Mr. Sparky. Okay, so Mr. Sparky, can you guess what they do, by the way? They are an electrical franchise, right? So they started franchising in 2006 and offered franchises from 2006 to 2021. 2021, they were acquired by Authority Brands, which owns a number of different franchise concepts. So, a little bit about Mr. Sparky. They have 6 corporate-owned territories, which I always love to see franchisors having some corporate-owned territories, because then they know what it's like to be in your shoes, and it gives them a testing ground for them to be able to figure things out and solve problems that franchisees face in their businesses. They have 163 franchise units. If you're just first tuning in and trying to understand what that means, units is not the same as franchise owners, because you may have franchise owners that own multiple units. Makes sense. Units like a location or storefront, right? In a service-based business, a unit consists of like a couple of zip codes or something like that. It's a geographic area. Their franchise fee is $33,000 plus basically 17 cents for each person above 200,000 in population, which is pretty cool. It gives you some flexibility in terms of the size. Royalty 6%. Marketing fee is 1.5%. It says goes all the way down to 0 as revenue increases, which is pretty interesting. I would imagine because they're going to make that up on the 6%. And the total investment range is between $119,000 to $260,000. So for those of you guys who are just learning about franchising, the way it works for funding in the investment range. So what happens is a lot of the times, most people, there's a bunch of different ways you can fund franchises. I have a whole bunch of videos and content on that. Actually, the best way to access that is our Franchise Buyers Academy. There's a whole module in funding. You can use retirement accounts, home equity lines of credit, all sorts of different things. A lot of people will often fund it with an SBA loan, which is a small business administration loan. And in that instance, you typically just need to put down 20% of the loan amount. So if, let's say, you were on the higher end of these startup costs, you would put down $52,000 and the bank would loan you the rest of the money, right? That's the most simplistic explanation. Some people also are able to use like their retirement account in a way that you don't get taxed on it, and they may fund it that way. Maybe you got $500,000 in your 401k or something like that in a previous 401k, and that's how you fund it. So let me know if you have any questions around that stuff. So Mr. Sparky, again, electrical maintenance, repair, replacement services. They're an electrical company, right? They have electricians. So and their system as a franchise system provides employee and owner training, a fully integrated software, a marketing system, and specialized training and support for recruiting and hiring, which is cool because most people who are looking at a business like this, their concern may be, well, I don't have any experience as an electrician. That's the whole point of it being a franchise system. You don't need to have experience being an electrician, and your job is not to go out there and learn how to be an electrician. It's to hire electricians, right? And to be able to make sure that you're generating enough business and running your operation successfully. So the primary responsibilities for the franchise owner include staffing and management, financial planning and strategy, managing the daily operations, overseeing sales and marketing, customer service, and community involvement. Depending upon what your skill sets are, you may be a more sales and marketing heavy owner or a more operations heavy owner, right? Hey, so if you want to figure out if you should buy a franchise and learn the fastest and easiest way to figuring out the best franchise to buy and everything you need to know about the process, then you'll want to go get access to our Franchise Buyers Academy. In our Franchise Buyers Academy, you'll get a behind the scenes look into specific franchises and exactly how much money they are making. You'll get simple formulas for finding money-making franchises and a blueprint on how to scale them into a franchise empire that can be sold for a lot of money later on. You'll be able to finally answer the question on, should I buy a franchise? Now you can get access at franchiseempire.com/FBA. Now let's get back to the episode. All right, let's take a look at some of their numbers, right? This is what everyone is always excited to see. Let me see if I can make this any bigger. That's too big. Nope, 300% is where we're at. All right. Maybe challenging to see. You might have to look a little bit closer. So in their FDD as of for the year ending 2023, let's hit the high level numbers first. What we see is that they had 118 territories that reported and 40 franchisees. So that means just about on average, a franchisee owns about 3 territories, just shy of that. Like maybe it's like 2.8, 2.9, really. And so what's cool is they show the average sales per territory. I don't want to get too technical here, but there's some FDDs that show like average sales, and you can't tell if it's like average sales per franchise owner or per territory. Per territory is better, right? Because obviously if you own 3 and you have 1.4 million times 3, that's more exciting than if it was 1.4 million over 3 territories. So the average gross sales per territory is 1.4 million. Let's see, median sales just over a million, and you got the highest performer doing 5.2 million in one territory, the lowest performer doing 48,000 in one territory, right? So pretty interesting numbers there. And what you can see is they break it down per quartile. So I'm not going to go too deep onto that in terms of the quartiles, but because we went over the system-wide averages. But it shows that there's a proven track record out there. And then let's see. And then this is showing gross revenue based on franchisees, right? So this is kind of what I was telling you about earlier, where the numbers look much different. So the average gross revenue per franchisees in the group, 4.2 million, and it's 1.8 million for the median, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so breaking it down more, benefits for the franchisee. Again, they have a fully integrated software that handles everything from dispatching to marketing to your financial stuff. You can manage your technicians all through that. Pretty cool. This is one of the benefits of a franchise system, right? As opposed to starting something from scratch, it's they give you the, at least in this case, they're providing you the technology, right? They recruiting and hiring. So obviously finding and keeping the right team is super key to having a successful business, especially in the trades. And basically, Mr. Sparky owners have a leg up on the competition due to their relationship with Career Plug and Blue Collar Recruiter for recruiting. They offer specialized training by your franchise business consultant within the franchisor who supports you with finding good talent, which is pretty cool, right? So they have some higher margin on private label products, which is pretty interesting. So it sounds like they have their own proprietary white labeled products that they just have a higher margin on, as opposed to, it being something that's showing that it's manufactured by a specific brand, which is pretty cool. And it keeps the company name and logo in the place the clients need it most on the actual equipment, Nice. I like that. Obviously, it's an essential service. Like no matter what happens with the economy, if you're, if something happens electrically in your house, you want to get it fixed, and you want to get it repaired. Uh, that simple. Authority Brands. So Authority Brands is the parent company that owns this franchise system. And so you'll not only have the opportunity to get referrals from the other sister companies that some of them are also service brands, but you have the chance to own multiple businesses potentially under the same umbrella, right? That uses the same software, which is pretty cool. So if you are interested to see if there are any Mr. Sparkies available in your area, you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. Or if you want to see and learn about any specific franchises that you know, hey, is it still available in my area? franchiseempire.com/check territory. If you don't know and have no idea what franchise you want, our check territory process is not the ideal process for you. That what's best is going to be going to franchiseempire.com/ZTPF and scheduling a call. That's going to be the best way to go from there. Okay, last but not least, um, so the most recent episode of the Franchise Empire Show, which is our podcast that we actually interviewed one of our clients. We've been doing this more and more recently. And Alexa, she went full time. She really wanted to get out of the corporate world, really wanted to be an entrepreneur. She had looked into franchising for over 10 years, which is wild when you think about it. But 14 months ago, she bought a property management franchise, and she is full time in her business. And it's really one of the questions I asked her was like, tell me about a day in your life. What does a day in your life look like as a franchise owner? It's a common question that we get. People want to know, like, what do you do? What does that look like? And so she walked us through that and just her mindset and transition from, walking away from the corporate world for good. So definitely go check out that episode. If you type in on YouTube, because it's a completely separate YouTube channel, type in Franchise Empire. That will lead you to our Franchise Empire YouTube channel. And the latest video that we put out was this episode with Alexis. Or alternatively, we are on every podcast platform. So wherever you consume your podcast, you can go look up the Franchise Empire Show there and listen to the audio podcast. Okay, with that said, let me dive into some of these questions that everyone had. One sec. Troy, if a ROBS is done to cover the cost of a franchise, would that replace the need for the 20% down for the SBA loan? Yeah, so it sounds like, Troy, you're asking, can you use the ROBS for the 20%? Is that what you're asking? Let me know. If so, the answer is yes. You can use the ROBS for the 20% and then get the SBA loan for the remaining 80%. It's a very common way that people fund it. Let's see. Starting from the bottom up again, do you think that people get the bandwagon effect when they think of food brand franchises? Yeah, I definitely think so. Most people just think of food. They don't even realize that there's all these other great opportunities in all sorts of different industries. Should you be trying to start your own business if you only want to buy a franchise for passive income? I think there's no such thing as passive income. And if you're trying to buy a franchise for passive income, you are probably going to, it's probably not going to work out well, because owning a business is a lot of hard work. So I would highly not recommend starting a business if your goal is passive income. And there's really no such thing as actual passive income. Would you recommend buying franchises for business models, laundromats, car washes, vending machines? Guys, oh man, a lot of these people make it seem a lot easier than it actually is. They are very actively involved in their businesses. They are actually working very hard, most of them. And maybe there's 5 or 10%. Like yeah, business ownership's not passive. I'll just be real with you. Like I could BS you guys. And there are plenty of people out there and franchisors that promote a passive absentee model. I just don't believe in it. And for me, it's important to be within integrity. It's like we could work with so many more clients if we were like, hey, yeah, you guys could do this, like, you know, it'll be real easy, semi-absentee, absentee, passive income. Like that's what everyone wants to hear. We tell you the truth and don't BS you, because that's what I would want from someone. So most of the people who try to start a business passively, they're not successful. It's very difficult to own a Chick-fil-A or Starbucks. Starbucks is not a franchise. They have a licensing opportunity. And yeah, Chick-fil-A technically is a franchise, but you don't actually own anything. Yeah, they are. Chick-fil-A is harder. I think they have like a 3-year waiting list. Chick-fil-A does, but you can't sell it. Like, what's okay? Great, you start a business. Like one of the great things about building and growing a business is one day you can sell it. You can't sell a Chick-fil-A. You can't exit it. So, I have a great business concept. Would you recommend franchising it or licensing it? I would recommend doing neither if it's just a concept. You shouldn't license or franchise anything unless you have at least 12 to 36 months of a proven track record of that business being successful and generating revenue and being profitable. You don't want to test out your business concept on other people's life savings. Jeremy, what's up, man? Uh, Alexis never named her best lead generator. She only mentioned the ones that she wished she didn't put advertisement money into. Well, hey, Jeremy, here's the good news. You're a client, and Alexis is in the Facebook group. So I would drop a little note in there and ask her, and I'm sure she'd probably tell you. Why don't you like businesses that other YouTubers talk about, like laundromats, car washes, and vending machine? It's not that I don't like the businesses. I think saying that you're going to make passive income with the businesses, or it's BS. It's just not the case. We have a client. We have a couple of clients that bought vending machines. There's a licensing opportunity with vending machines. They're like, it's a quality problem, but they're like, it's keeping us super busy. We have to constantly go and refill it because they're getting sales. So if you're not the one constantly going to refill it, let's just follow this thread logically. You own a bunch of vending machines, right? Your vending machines are ideal situation, hyper successful. People are buying product. So that means 3 times a week you're having to go you're having to, stock up on product, and you have to go then put that product in the vending machines, right? Now, one of you may go, okay, no, I'm going to hire someone. I'm going to hire someone that can go and stock up the vending machines for me. Great. Now you have to manage that person. What happens if they don't fill it up? What happens if they quit? What happens if they leave? These are the type of things that I'm just, telling you about. This is the real life of business. It's hard, and it's a lot of hard work. And if you want, the people that are the most successful in business aren't treating it as passive income. They know their business inside and out, and they have spent the time to work hard in their business, to pay attention to their business, and that's why they're successful. And then maybe after a couple of years, it becomes more passive for them because they put in the hard work in the beginning to learn their business inside and out, to build up a team, and then it can become more passive. But if you go into it with it trying to be passive from the get-go, I think you're in for a really hard time. That's just the reality of it. Anyone that tells you otherwise it's just probably not the case. Every entrepreneur that I know, they're like, yeah, business is really hard and nothing about it is passive. So as an example, my store in California that we built from scratch, we wound up moving 2,500 miles away. That wind up becoming sort of passive, but guess what? I was there every day during like I visited the store every day when it was under construction. I spent the first 2 weeks working 60 to 70 hours in the store getting our staff trained and prepared. That first 8 months before we moved away from California to Florida, I went to the store every single day. Um, Even on the weekends. I would stop by, check in, make sure presence was known. I would watch the cameras. I was on it like white on rice. So after 8, 9 months of being obsessively involved with the business, we moved 2,500 miles away. I had a manager that I had trained that knew our expectations, how OCD I was. We had numbers that we were managing, and that helped. I still had to do weekly meetings with my manager, and I still had to pay attention to aspects of my business. And when my original manager unexpectedly quit or gave me 1 week's notice, actually, I had to fly from Florida to California to go hire another manager and spend a week there. So that's why it's not passive. Hey, before we go, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't already. And the biggest thank you that you could ever give me is to share this episode with someone who you think will benefit. That means that we can share this message with more people and hopefully positively inspire them like we have you. So thank you. And until next time, go build your empire.